Planet Rib diving into the historic move to vote Congressman Kevin McCarthy out of the House Speaker's chair. I'm joined now by attorney and a conservative advocate Terry Johnson, Democratic insider and consultant Alexis Wiley, State Senator Jim Runstead, a Republican, and Oakland County political science professor who's not choosing sides here. He's here to kind of give us a play-by-play on how this is looking from a political aspect, Dave Giulio. And live from D.C. via Skype, the one and only Congresswoman Debbie Dingell, who we will begin with. Congresswoman, you are one busy woman. You began this morning with a breakfast out in Lathrop Village, and now you're back in Washington. Look, the overarching story in Washington right now affects all of us. This kind of chaos you're seeing at the Capitol, not a proud moment for America, would you say?
I think it's a sad moment. It's the first time in history that the speakership has been vacated. I think, unfortunately, it was rules that were passed earlier this year and approved by the speaker himself that one member could make a motion to vacate the speakership. No, we are a representative body. It should be a far larger number, quite frankly, that should make that motion. And I just think it's a sad time, and we need to move on quickly. The speaker has said, Kevin McCarthy has said he's not running again. I would like to see us in a nonpartisan way, or as a healing way as possible, move quickly to fill that spot and move on with the people's business.
Are you disappointed, Congresswoman Dingell, and the Democrats that voted along these 8 Republicans to make this happen?
No, I'm not, because quite frankly, Kevin McCarthy brought it on himself. It was his people. It was a Republican caucus issue. It was his unity within his own caucus. And this past weekend, we could talk about January 6th. We could talk about deals that were agreed to on raising the debt ceiling and not being honored. But on Saturday, we had 15 minutes notice when we were given a resolution to keep the government running, which we should never have been coming down to hours of that crisis to begin with. We asked for 90 minutes to study it. We're not giving it. Our caucus, except for one person, supported it completely so that we could keep the government going, weren't in total agreement. And then Kevin McCarthy went on national television on Sunday and said that's caused the crisis. And I just think he caused the situation. Democrats did not cause that situation, and people had a real problem. In our caucus, we had a thoughtful, reflective discussion, and people who represent many different perspectives.
Yeah,
Congresswoman, we can't support someone like that.
I'm hearing you, and although I know the audio is a little bit warped, but we do hear you clearly, and we thank you thank you for your message there. Terry Johnson, when you listen to the Congresswoman talk about the fact that she says no, that Speaker McCarthy brought this on himself, this is on him. Where do you sit on this, on all this stuff?
You know, I do have to, and Congresswoman, I am going to agree with you here. You know, I think just about everything you said is correct. Unfortunately, Kevin McCarthy, in order to get the speakership, remember, went through 15 votes, I believe, for him to get this, and that was one of the things that he asked for. My problem is with the 4% of Congress, which are those 8 members that did this. You know, it's kind of like you have a team. You know, you know, whether, let's say, you're playing for Michigan State, you call a play, and you know you're playing against Michigan, then all of a sudden you hand the ball off, and the Michigan State players turn around and tackle their own guy, right? That's the exact same thing that the Republicans did here. We have no one to blame but ourselves, and I think it's going to be a lot of fallout as it relates to this. So,
Alexis Wiley, I mean, you're an insider. You've seen the game of politics play out at a local level, at a state level. You're watching this as well. Your commentary and what we just saw unfold there.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything that the Congresswoman and Terry's just said. I mean, I think really what we're seeing is really devastating, because really we're making history right now for all the wrong reasons. And what people want is lawmakers who are going to just do their jobs, right? Not just, you know, go after their own party and do something like penalize someone for going across the aisle to keep the government open, to keep people working, to keep paychecks coming. That to me is just so shocking, and I think voters need to think about that when they're making decisions
Well,
in November.
Senator Ronstadt, will they remember this? Do voters have the memory to say, yes, this is something that I didn't like, those 8 people, I'm not happy with what they did, or will they just let it go?
Well, those 8 people are in just a few spots around the country. The voters are going to be looking at their individual members and where they stand on a lot of issues. But I'm conflicted on a number of things. Number one, I'm not in Congress, so I don't know the backstory of everything that's happening. But I do know that a lot of the angst was this continuing resolution that they just continue to pass. We are now spending over $2 trillion a year. We're borrowing. That's on top of the spending. That's what we're borrowing every year. We're $33 trillion in the hole. The interest rates now for 10-year bonds are at 5%, which is gobbling up the huge part of the national budget. The spending is like over the cliff.
I'm hearing you say this, but when I hear Representative Matt Gaetz, I don't hear a lot of this. I hear
that's the whole speech you made. I'm getting to the speech you just gave.
But I'm saying I'm hearing also a lot of promises that he made to his constituents about what he would do, including help oust McCarthy. If that is what should people be able to run on that? Is that something that should be legal?
I know that not just him, but there's a lot of people in this country that are looking at the numbers, say if we don't do something about spending, none of this matters. This is the bus going off the cliff, and the Democrats are going at 100 miles an hour. The Republicans say let's do it at 95 miles an hour. It has to stop. Whatever it takes to stop this spending, this country is going to collapse into bankruptcy. It's very serious, and no one in the media is telling the people. When they're going to find out is when it happens, and it's just the whole economy is melting down under the debt that we are generating from spending. This has got to be a discussion that has to happen in Congress.
Dave, I want to bring you into the fold and talk about when you zoom out. I know you're not looking at each and every issue here, but kind of looking at a macro thing here. I mean, this is a sad time for our country, would you say?
It's a terrible time for the country. I think that, excuse me, that people across the country, voters, constituents, this is exactly the kind of thing that they say they hate about American politics. This is what frustrates them. This is what makes them disengage when they see petty politics being played. And I think there was some of that. There's plenty of blame to go around on Capitol Hill for what went down on Tuesday. And I think that Republicans bear some blame, certainly the 8 that voted against McCarthy. I think some blame lies with Democrats who could have kept us out of the chaos. Had just a handful of them voted to have McCarthy stay in the Speaker's chair.
Alexis, do you think that's true?
I actually don't, because
Why?
I don't think he should have been saved for displaying baseline competence that we'd expect. This is still a guy who, handed over tapes related to January 6th, has done all sorts of terrible things, and has proven himself not trustworthy. He was not to be saved. His own party took him out.
Was it his whole party, though? It was a handful of members.
They still took him out for, one, a terrible reason. We've all said we have a problem with the fact that he got taken out for trying to work across the aisle. But bottom line, this is not Democrats' problem. This is something the Republican Party needs to reckon with.
No, that's not true, because here's the thing. At some point, again, we're setting precedent, and that's the problem. And, for the sake of the country, a few Democrats could have said, this is not right.
Well, let me get the Democrat.
Can't ignore all the things that had been done. That track record that he set. This was not
this
a
about-
guy
Let's bring in Congresswoman Debbie Dingell to that point. It could just take a handful of Democrats, we're hearing, to actually help avert this situation, this sad day that you even agree is a sad day. Why didn't more Democrats step in to try to do something? Do you think this was all on McCarthy, or do you think the Democrats had a hand in this?
I think this was all on the Republican caucus. This was a Republican caucus issue. And I think had Kevin McCarthy not gone and faced the nation and been as blatant as he said and blamed everything on Democrats when not needing to blame on this, we should never shut down the government. That kind of theatric drama endangers our national security and everything else. And unfortunately, I think that was the final straw that made it so that no member felt that they could step out. This was a Republican caucus.
Congresswoman, one last question for you before we let you go. You have a busy night ahead. Are you worried about the next few weeks here as we talk about, we still got to fund this government? Are the relationships too fractured now in Congress to actually get the work done?
We can't allow that to happen. I have been talking to my Republican colleagues all day. I believe we have to work across the aisle, but